Come, spellweavers, reavers, rogues, and men-at-arms, and answer the call of adventure. Pick up your sword, your axe, your spellbook, your bow, your rulebook, and your dice, and join the forces of good in their eternal fight against vile monsters, conspiring min-maxers, horny bards, and blood-soaked murder hobos. Discover the treasure trove of role-playing games here on Rollin' Bones. My name is Ryan Howard, and I shall be your guide. Good evening, Boneheads, and welcome to Rollin' Bones with Ryan Howard, your RPG treasure trove. And Lou, I am glad that you shouted that out immediately as soon as the intro played. Yes, we do have a brand new intro here on Rollin' Bones. This was done courtesy of John Page, who you guys know from Nighthaven, JVP Music. You can find him on SoundCloud. I'll drop a link in the description on all of this as it goes out. And John is here in chat with us, which is fantastic. So guys, I'm glad you could join us this evening. No, he can't. No. John V. Page is a total jabroni. Yeah, that intro sucked. It was terrible. Awful. Only made worse by the dude talking over the music. What was that all about? Anyway, real quick, before we kick things off tonight, I just want to let you guys know why we're not doing what we originally intended to do here tonight. This was supposed to be Session 4 of Nighthaven. One of the guys had a kind of personal emergency come up. So if everyone, thoughts and prayers for Prax's daughter. She had to go into the hospital. Everything's fine now. Looks like, the doctors have it well in hand. So, again, thoughts and prayers for Prax and his family as they're, dealing with this shocking experience. And, Prax, we love you here, and we hope that you can join us not too terribly far in the future for that fourth session of Nighthaven. That's why we're not doing that tonight, but what we are doing is something I had planned on doing for next week. We'll see what comes up next week. I've got a couple things in the chamber for what could possibly happen, but tonight we're going to be doing my 2021 holiday gift guide. So if there is an episode of Rollin' Bones that you need to show to your grandma or your mother or whoever is buying you Christmas presents or Hanukkah presents or Festivus presents or whatever it is you're celebrating this season, this is the episode to show them. I will not swear, just so, your grandma can watch this and not be afraid of what she's going to hear. Not that I swear all that often, but, it's nothing you don't already hear at home. Anyway, tonight we are going to be going through a few different options for the gamer in your life. So, just pulling something up here real quick to get stuff out of the way. Basically, just to let you guys know what we're doing here, I'm going to be going through books, including rule sets, adventures, all that stuff, miniatures, dice, and then other accessories that I think are cool. And that's what we're going to spend kind of the bulk of the episode on, is discussing those things and what's cool about them, what they, why you should get them for the gamer in your life, or why a gamer would be interested in that. And one thing that I'm going to go ahead and preface right now, I don't have any specifics for this, but one thing that I've been interested in since starting especially listening to Professor Dungeon Master and keeping up with his content. One thing that I've really been interested in is foam cutting and creating terrain. So if you've got someone, a gamer in your life who is looking to get into that, that's one thing that I'll say off the top is cool that you should get for the gamer in your life is, some kind of foam cutting tool, especially if they... Sorry, just pulling up more stuff here. Especially if they've expressed interest in creating terrain and stuff like that. And you can also, along the same lines, a 3D printer is a cool thing if you're looking to spend that kind of money on someone. Which, by the way, if you're looking to spend that kind of money on the gamer in your life, God bless you. You are truly blessed and a fantastic friend or parent or partner or lover, and you really will get the gold medal if you're going to buy someone a 3D printer. So just putting that out there. But, foam cutting tools are definitely something I'm interested in for this holiday season. Just so I can start building my own terrain and kind of expressing my love for the hobby in that way. So with that out of the way, what I'm going to do is slide on over to some screen share, and we're going to talk about different gift ideas that we have for the holiday season this year. So without further ado, let's scoot on over there. Alrighty. We're going to start with the Evil Empire, just so I don't have to talk about them for the rest of the episode. I've made no secret of it this year that I've kind of had a falling out emotionally with Wizards of the Coast and the whole D&D product line. A lot of what I've been interested in this year has been other rule sets. I mean, you guys have seen me talk about Dungeon Crawl Classics, Mutant Crawl Classics. We'll get to that. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a gamer in your life, they're probably interested to some degree in Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, and all the associated stuff that comes with that. So, as always, one of the best gifts that you can get a gamer in your life, and let me see if I can find it here. I should have pulled this up before I started, but we'll roll on down here. A couple items that are kind of evergreen for anyone who's looking to get into role playing. Man, it really is all the way at the bottom here. But the first thing we'll be looking at is the starter set for D&D. So here it is. This is the D&D starter set. What this gets you, for anyone unfamiliar with what comes with the starter set. And Necrostevo, thank you for the comment. It's my pleasure to do this every year. I like giving this guide to people who don't necessarily understand gaming. This episode really is meant for people who aren't role-playing fanatics, because a lot of you guys know this stuff. But even for those of you who are, there's stuff I want to shout out here. But, for the most part, this is to give a relative who doesn't know anything about this Dungeons and Dragons nonsense, just so that they, know what you're looking for. So I'll zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see the details. But this is the Dungeons and Dragons starter set. If someone in your life has expressed interest in especially running D&D, this is your go-to to begin with. Because what this gets you is an adventure for 4 to 6 players. It's The Lost Mines of Phandelver, which is a fantastic adventure, in my opinion. A great introduction to the world of role-playing. 64-page adventure book, 32-page rule book for playing characters level 1 through 5. You also get 5 pre-generated character sheets, and then a set of 6 dice. and you can get it from all major retailers. You can even find this in like Walmart and Target. I've seen it before. So for anyone who, really, like all ages, anyone, it says 12 and up, you could give this to someone 10 and up and they could, find some way to have fun with it. But if anyone has started watching Critical Role or told you that they are looking to get into Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing, this is kind of the package to get them. So, like, as far as kids' gifts go, this is a pretty good place to begin things. So that's where we're going to start things off. Let's get back to the regular Zoom here and go back because Wizards has done a great job of actually bundling products here to make it a little bit easier to give people gifts, and I hate that it completely reset everything, but fortunately, we don't have to go down that far. So I'll go ahead and open this up. This is the first of the collections that we'll be looking at here. But Wizards has put out a 3-book and Dungeon Master Screen collection of the core rules for 5e. So what this gets you for $170 is the 3 rule books and the revamped DM screen. So the DM screen that you'll get with this is the good DM screen. It is the one that has kind of the most helpful information on it. And you'll be getting a copy of the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. So, if you have an adult gamer in your life, or an adult who's expressed interest in gaming, and you're looking to drop a little bit of coin on them, this does end up being, if not equivalent to getting all 3 books and the DM screen, maybe even a little bit cheaper. I'd have to go back and look at what they're asking for each book. That being said, if you want to, bargain hunt, these 3 books are frequently on sale on Amazon. Usually they're pretty significantly marked down, because typically they're about, I think they're a full $50 each, maybe $40. But usually on Amazon you can get them for $30. And they've been around for long enough that secondhand copies aren't that hard to come by. So you can pick these books up for a little bit cheaper, but if you want to give them brand new, quality assured books with the DM screen in one package, this will be the way to go for you. This D&D Core Rules gift set. And if you have a gamer in your life who already has the core rules, but they haven't delved any deeper into the world of D&D, you can, of course, get them the Rules Expansion gift set, which is the same price of $170. And what you get with this is Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Monsters of the Multiverse, and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So, Monsters of the Multiverse, I believe, is both Volo's Guide and Mordenkainen's put together. It might be its own separate book. I don't have that book. I've got Volo's Guide, and I've read over Mordenkainen's tome. So, anyone looking to buy gifts for Ryan, Monsters of the Multiverse would be something to look at. But this gets you Xanathar's Guide and Tasha's Cauldron, which are great expansion books. I've talked about both of them on here. They are good quality expansions to the world of D&D. So, if you know someone who has the core rule books, they like role-playing, and they want these other books, again, this is a good collection to get them. These books also frequently go on sale on Amazon, so you can get cheaper copies out there. And it also comes with its own Dungeon Master screen. So I don't know what's on this screen, though. So, your mileage may vary there. The DM screen, I will say, if you're looking to just get someone the DM screen, which I can go to, it's got its own separate entry here. The Dungeon Master screen Reincarnated. It's a $15 product. This is the best screen that you can get for 5e. It has the most helpful reference material on it. It's got, just the conditions, and conditions are super important for 5e. So it's got conditions listed, it's got the ranges for spells. The Dungeon Master screen Reincarnated is the best 5e Dungeon Master screen, hands down. It's better than the first one that came out. It's a great resource. So again, that's a low barrier to entry there for anyone looking to get something cool for the gamer in their life, but you maybe aren't looking to drop $170 on someone. This resource here, if they don't already have it, the Dungeon Master screen Reincarnated, is a good one to go for. And let's go back to our regular. All right, never mind. That one's frozen. Anyway. Let's get back here to Tabletop RPGs. And according to Project Fullblade here in chat, Joe page, so we got both pages here tonight, which is awesome. The HeroQuest GM screen is pretty cool as well. I haven't played any HeroQuest yet, so that might be something new for me to explore next year. But the last couple things I want to shout out here, the new book, or there are a couple of new books here, but the most recent book that's out is Fisman's Treasury of Dragons. So this is a good resource for anyone who is dragon obsessed or wants to use more dragons in their games. What this gets you, it's a $50 book. Just came out in October. Haven't read it yet, so I can't tell you the quality of this book. But you get gem dragons, which are a thing from older editions that are now kind of brought in. All kinds of lore around dragons with Bahamut and Tiamat. Possibly stat blocks for them too. I don't know if they kept those for the Tiamat adventure or if they actually put them in this book. There's also some new draconic ancestries for Dragonborns, dragon subclasses for monks and rangers, feats, spell options, all that cool stuff. So this is a light rule expansion, but it's mostly valuable just for anyone looking to do more cool stuff with dragons. So that's an option. And then the last thing to shout out here, because it will be available for actually two more things. One of these is already out, and I've mentioned Critical Role already, but if you have someone in your life who likes Critical Role, Wild Beyond the Witchlight... Actually, no, sorry, this is not a Critical Role adventure. That's the other one that was on the page. Sorry. So, this is just an adventure, level 1 to 8, set in the Feywild. It's called Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It came out in September, and it is it's an adventure book for anyone looking to run D&D. So if you get someone the core starter set, or the core set of books, and you want to get them an adventure to go along with it, this might be something to throw out there. I personally would recommend something like Curse of Strahd, or Waterdeep Dragon Heist is actually my favorite of the 5e adventures that I've played. Those would be my recommendations, but this is kind of the newer adventure. So if this is something you want to throw to the gamer in your life, this would be a good option. Also, it has Warduke and Strongheart and Kellic. If you are into the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, they are in here. at least according to that text. So this is the Critical Role campaign book. That's not coming out until March of next year. But the last thing to talk about with Wizards before we move on to other things that I'd rather talk about is Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos. This book will be coming out on the 7th of December, so it'll be out before Christmas. And what this is a 5e adventure set in the Magic the Gathering universe. So if you've got any Magic fans out there who are also interested in D&D, this might be a way to go. But if you don't know anyone who's into Magic, they're just into D&D and Harry Potter, this book is an adventure set within a school of magic. So if you've got a Potterhead in your life who is also interested in D&D, this might be a good entry point for them because it's a D&D adventure set in a magic school. So that is obviously an option. All right, so we've gotten the WotC portion out of the way. Let's talk about Pinnacle, because Pinnacle is one of my favorite companies. Pinnacle is great. For anyone who doesn't know, Pinnacle makes Savage Worlds and Deadlands. They now have a Savage Pathfinder. Pinnacle's a great company. I love them a lot. Shane Hensley is a great guy. He's been on the show a couple times. I know a lot of people who've done work for Pinnacle, and obviously I've been playing in Deadlands, the Hellgate trilogy, so naturally this is going to be something I recommend. So for anyone interested in getting into Savage Worlds, obviously your entry point is going to be the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition core rulebook. Pinnacle has the option of PDF. Currently, it's out of print in physical. You might be able to get a copy on Amazon, but they are expecting a restock in December, so that might be a possibility. Again, just depending on what you're looking for. But Pinnacle's pretty good about having PDF options and physical options bundled together, so this way your beloved gamer will be able to have a physical book and a PDF, which is always great. I wish other companies would do that. Oh wait, every other company but one does that, so, you know. Not to beat that drum again. But for anyone who's wanting to play Savage Worlds, this book is essential. This is the core book. So this is your starting point for anyone looking to get into Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is also setting agnostic, so you might want to get them a setting book as well, and if the gamer in your life is a big fan of Westerns, might I recommend Deadlands. Deadlands is, of course, a fantastic, amazing setting for Savage Worlds. I love it so much. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can get for your beloved gamer here. Obviously, there's the core setting book. This includes all the essential information you need to run a game of Deadlands. There are some supplemental materials, but this is really what you need to get started, is the Savage Worlds core book and then the Deadlands book, which is this thing right here. Also available in both print and PDF for $39.99. And I recommend buying from Pinnacle directly. You can buy from Amazon. The stuff's available there. But it's always good to support these games. It's always good to support these companies. Buy from them directly. They get more money that way. I can't emphasize that enough. It's good to support these game companies directly by buying from their websites, buying from their stores, or buying from a store that they're working very closely with. We'll get to that in a little bit. But in addition to Deadlands, if you want to go whole hog on this, you can get the Weird West Companion to go along with the core rulebook. And you can also get Horror at Headstone Hill, which is the first box set adventure that came with the original Kickstarter. This is a great adventure. If you want to see it in action, my good friend Todd Moonbounce has been running this on Twitch. So check that out. It's fantastic. By the way, that's not my headstone down there. Just letting everyone know. I was not shot. But that's an option, and then another good option is Blood Drive, which just recently went through Kickstarter. You can buy print or PDF. And this is just another adventure for Deadlands. I haven't seen this one in action. I don't have a copy of Blood Drive, but it is available. And also there's the action deck. For anyone who doesn't know, Savage Worlds requires a deck of cards to play as well as a set of dice. So that's what the action deck is. It's a deck of cards. Cheyenne Wright, my marshal, did the art for the action deck. It's fantastic. Definitely check it out. And if you're, again, going all in, a set of dice. Deadlands requires 2d6 so that you can have the wild die. It also requires every other dice type that you would need for role-playing, so there's that. Poker chips are also good for Savage Worlds. You need them for your bennies. And last but not least, this is just a cool thing. These ammo counters, which can also be PowerPoint trackers. It's a cool. It looks like a revolver cylinder. It's awesome. It's on theme. It's just a cool little accessory that you can give to a player. And they've got a whole bunch of other stuff here. They've got pawns, which are 2D cutouts that you can use instead of miniatures. They've got map packs. I've got a couple of these maps. All kinds of great stuff. They've got Ghost Rock counters. You can actually buy the box set, which contains a lot of the stuff that I've talked about. What you get with this box set, it's $100. And it comes with the Weird West core rulebook, the GM screen, an adventure called Showdown at Sundown, 25 bennies, 7 dice, and a wild die. You get a poster map of the Weird West, 12 power cards, adventure cards, infernal device cards, 6 harrowed cards, and 5 ammo counters. You also get the PDFs with this. So, one convenient package for anyone looking to start their adventuring in the Weird West, along with the Savage Worlds core rulebook. So that is Deadlands. If you have a gamer in your life who's looking for other stuff, the Superpowered Companion for Suede, it's in pre-order right now, along with the pawns for superhero games. So this won't be out by Christmas, but it is an option if you want to give someone like an IOU gift. So there's that. You've also got Rifts. I haven't played a whole lot of Rifts, so, I can't tell you much about it. And then there's Savage Pathfinder. So if you've got someone in your life who loves fantasy gaming and loves Savage Worlds, this is a good entry point for fantasy role-playing with kind of the Pathfinder IP in Savage Worlds. Again, I don't play Pathfinder. I never have. I've got other fantasy games that I love more. I was introduced to fantasy gaming with D&D. I've got Dungeon Crawl Classics, so I'm set as far as fantasy games go, but this is one for anyone who likes fantasy and likes Savage Worlds. You can go with the Pathfinder core rulebook. You can get a PDF. And this is one, like the physical stuff is not yet out for this, so you'd be getting a PDF. You can pre-order at Pledge Manager if you want to do a late pledge. That's fine, but it'll take a little bit longer to get there. And there are more settings, of course, with Savage Worlds. You've got your Flash Gordon, you've got East Texas University, Last Parsec, Weird Wars, Necessary Evil, Deadlands Noir, The Goon, 50 Fathoms, all that good stuff. I will say, though, if you have someone who is a Savage Worlds gamer who has Suede, not all of this has been updated for Suede. Like, I don't think Lankmar... There's a Suede conversion guide, but Lankmar, this is all the previous version. By the way, anyone who likes Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser obviously knows about Lankmar, but this is another option if you've heard people talk about Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. We'll get back to them in just a little bit. So, that is it for Pinnacle. Let's talk about Goodman Games. Goodman Games is a fantastic company. They make some great stuff, and what I'm going to focus on for the most part here is Dungeon Crawl Classics. So, we'll go ahead and... take a look at some of the stuff that we've got. So, one option that we have, this is currently on sale, by the way. Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game. This is the Skull reissue, Scratch and Dent. So this would be kind of a battered copy, but it's on sale for more than half off. So anyone who's looking to get into Dungeon Crawl Classics, this will be a print and PDF tier. This is the 7th printing. I can't tell you how great this game is. I love Dungeon Crawl Classics so much. I am really looking forward to diving into it more, as I learn the system more. Just to tease something that's coming here in the future, if he's still on here, Luau Lu and I are actually going to be collaborating on his podcast, This Old Dungeon, to talk a little bit about some Dungeon Crawl Classics and updating a favorite D&D setting of mine for Dungeon Crawl Classics. I'll leave it there, but that's coming next month. I am looking forward to doing that with Lou. I'm excited. So, that out of the way, the Dungeon Crawl Classics core rulebook is definitely something to get for the gamer in your life. There are regular, versions of the book as well. And then there's all kinds of different adventures here. Everyone's got their favorites as far as adventures go. I haven't played any of these adventures, so I can't tell you for sure, what the best ones are. But again, if you know someone in your life who likes Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser, likes those Lankmar stories, Goodman Games has a license to create Lankmar content. So you're looking at, here. This is the boxed set of Lankmar Dungeon Crawl Classics, print and PDF. Hint for anyone who is watching this who is buying Christmas presents for me. Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankmar box set. That is a good idea. That's potentially something that I might be interested in. Nudge nudge, wink wink, say no more, to quote Monty Python. But yeah, again, anyone who's interested in these characters and their adventures, this is kind of your officially licensed setting for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Like it says here, box set officially licensed from the estate of Fritz Leiber, so you know it's for real. But this gets you kind of your introduction to the world of Lankhmar and how it fits within the DCC rules. Let's see. Take a look at the DCC rule books again, just to take a look. You've got a whole bunch of options as far as covers. You've got the softcover Beastman edition, which is a little bit cheaper than the hardcover. Hardcover, you're generally looking at somewhere between $40 and $60. Some are more expensive, some are less expensive. Just depends on what you're looking for. All of them are print plus PDF, as long as supplies last. Again, fantastic service that all good, amazing game companies provide, especially Goodman Games. And then one other thing to talk about while we're talking about Dungeon Crawl Classics, because to play DCC good and proper, you're going to need the special DCC dice. Let me see if my set is close by so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. I have a physical example of this. Here we go. Dungeon Crawl Classics dice. The reason why you need these special dice is they're special. To click on this right here and show you what we're talking about, you of course have your D4, D6, D8, D20, D10, percentile, D12, but you also have stuff like a D30, a D24, a D16, a D14, a D3, a D5, and a D7. And yes, these are necessary. $30 will get you a good set. My set is actually temporarily unavailable. The Hellcat set, which I got at North Texas RPG Con, not available. But you can get the three-legged Gowl, you can get the beaked unicorn, skeleton saint, all kinds of different colors. The reason why they've got the names with them is some of these dice do actually come with, if I pull this out, you actually do have a stat block for the Hellcat on the dice. So some of these will have stat blocks for one monster on them, depending on, what you get. They do also have a half pound and a 2 pound set for your DCC dice. So if you want to get someone the Chessex pounded dice, but they're a Dungeon Crawl Classics gamer, or they're into DCC, for $100 you can get 2 pounds of randomly assorted DCC dice. And you can also get someone a dice chain tray, which does the service of putting the dice chain in order for you. It's a cool thing to have. Just, an interesting little piece for your table. So that's it for DCC. Of course, we can't talk about Dungeon Crawl Classics without talking about its cousin, Mutant Crawl Classics. Load, darn you. Okay, here we go. So, Mutant Crawl Classics. We've got multiple different things here. This is the core rule book that we're looking at here. Standard edition, print plus PDF. I have a PDF. I don't have a print copy. Again, hint for anyone looking to buy me gifts. You also have the option of the character class tokens and the judge's screen print plus PDF option. So, again, for anyone looking for a judge's screen, it's like a DM screen. Judge is the MCC DCC term for GM. So that's what you're looking at with a judge's screen. Other things that you can get, there are adventure modules, third-party books. You've got some limited edition covers down here if you're into that sort of thing. As far as third-party stuff goes, of course, because he's here and because we love him, Lou is currently working on some great third-party Mutant Crawl Classics adventures, one of which just wrapped up on Kickstarter, so congratulations, Lou. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you guys are too. And one other thing I want to shout out here, because, I mean, they're awesome. They're miniatures. There are Mutant Crawl Classics Mutant Mayhem Minis. These are all kinds of different crazy mutations and weird things that you can find in the world of Mutant Crawl Classics, because Mutant Crawl Classics is weird. So there's all kinds of cool stuff. Mutants, monstrosities. Good stuff all around. And the last thing to talk about with Goodman Games is they do have a line of what they call Original Adventures Reincarnated. So this would be a good thing to give a nostalgic gamer. Someone who gamed a lot in the old days, maybe is looking to get back into the hobby. These are 5e conversions of the first 6 modules for original Dungeons & Dragons. So what you have here is Into the Borderlands, which is a combination of In Search of the Unknown and The Keep on the Borderlands. You've got The Isle of Dread. You've got Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. The Lost City. Castle Amber. And the Temple of Elemental Evil, which is T1 through 4. So these are the 6 that they have right now. And like I said, these are old school adventures that Goodman Games has the license to convert and sell. And again, these are, if we take a look at them, this one's currently out of stock. So, you know, there might be... These might be a little bit hard to find. Castle Amber is in stock. Let's see, Elemental Evil. Not the image. Let's see what is in stock here. So the Temple of Elemental Evil is in stock. It's $100, but you can get it. It's a 2-volume set. That's why it's $100, because it's 2 adventures, or 2 adventure books put together. So that's what you're getting for your $100. But these are options for anyone who, you know, is an old school gamer looking to kind of reignite their love for gaming. And then, you know, there's all kinds of other stuff. There's other settings for Dungeon Crawl Classics. You've got Empire of the East. You've got, oh heavens, all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of great, amazing, cool things that you can find on Goodman Games. They're a great company, and again, I encourage you guys to buy from the Goodman Games online store. So, with that in mind, let's move on over to our next place, and this will be the last stop as far as books go, and this is ExaltedFuneral.com. So Exalted Funeral has been very supportive of a lot of good friends of mine, and this is a great place to buy a lot of different things. If you are looking for, I don't know, even if you're looking for Dungeon Crawl Classics and you don't want to get stuff from Goodman Games for whatever reason, you can get DCC stuff on Exalted Funeral. Let's go back to their homepage and just kind of look at the products that they have. Because there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can get on here. Here's a good one, Old School Essentials. the Classic Fantasy Rules Tome. OSE is a book that a lot of people love. So here's the Rules Tome. This is something that you can get standard edition plus PDF for $40. It's a great deal. If you take a look at Necrotic Gnome, you have a lot of stuff like this. So anyone who's, let's say, into old school essentials, this might be a place to look for some stuff. Or we could take a look at... Let's see, who else is out here? Here's a good one. Putrescence Regnant. This is a bog crawl from Morkborg. Or Merkborg. So, Merkborg is another game that you can get on here. That's been kind of the rage this year and last year. Merkborg has been a huge thing that a lot of people have talked about when it comes to, gaming past couple years. Merkborg has been a huge thing. So if I can, let's just search for it. It's currently sold out on here, but you can get it other places. But let's say they restock in time for the holidays. You can get Merkborg here, although it's currently sold out. So another person whose books you can buy on here. You all know where I'm going. Those of you who know me, Planet X Games. So if you or a loved one missed out on any of the previous Planet X Kickstarters, here you go. Here you go. Phylactery 1 through 3, Magic and Shit. Sorry, Grandma, I cursed. That's literally the title of it, though, so, that's out there. Glimmering Crypt of the Ion King is fantastic. Escape from Skullcano Island, also fantastic. An Occurrence at Howling Crater. Someday I hope Levi puts out a new edition of An Occurrence of Howling Crater that's the exact same, but just with this one edition, to put on the back of the book, in quotes, "It's the only adventure that has made me dry heave, Ryan Howard." I literally said that when I was reviewing Occurrence at Howling Crater. The details in this particular module are astonishingly gross because it's Hills Have Eyes meets a crashed UFO. And yeah, it definitely needs a DCC version, Lou. That's a great point. But Levi, if you're looking to do the DCC update of Howling Crater, I would appreciate it. I don't expect it, but I would appreciate it if you could put my quote on the back of the RPG. The only adventure module to make me dry heave, Ryan Howard, Rolling Bones with Ryan Howard. But yeah, taking a look at some of the other stuff. Forbidden Lands, like... Let's see. This is a different thing, but... Did I spell that right? Okay, so I'm not seeing Forbidden Lands on here. But, let's see... Is it 5 Torches Deep? Okay, that's not on here either. But, these are other things that people are into. So Exalted Funeral is a great place to go for all kinds of stuff. And if you, you can look at clearance, see some of the stuff that's on clearance right now. if you go to the esoteric section, you can find all kinds of weird, crazy stuff that people have just sold them. There's all kinds of crazy nonsense that pops up on Exalted Funeral, because they buy all kinds of weird nonsense. Wizard Thief Fighter, we of course have to shout out because I love them. Witchburner is a great game that a lot of people have enjoyed, and then Ultraviolet Grasslands is also pretty cool, especially if anyone's looking for something new to, as far as role playing, and they're really into like Mobius. Ultraviolet Grasslands is your ticket. Luca is a fantastic dude. I had a great time talking with him when he was on the show eons ago, but UVG is a great resource for anyone. So that concludes the books portion of our discussion. So let's move her on over to miniatures and miniature painting. We're pretty much going to stick with Reaper on this one. There are a couple other places. I'll go ahead and pull them up. You can see the cocktails that I've been looking for online there. I've been getting into bartending and drink making and crazy recipes and stuff like that real recently, so that's why you see eggnog cocktails on my Google search. That's like the least embarrassing thing you could mention being on your Google search, is just like, oh, you're looking up eggnog recipes. Okay, Grandpa. But yeah, that's why that's there. So, anyway, stuff that you can get for loved ones in your life. I will always say this: individual miniatures are great stocking stuffers. They're inexpensive, especially from Reaper. And they are, just a great thing to stick in someone's stocking if that's part of your tradition. What we're looking at right now is the Henchman and Hirelings box set. So what this gets you is a box set of unpainted miniatures. This is really hard to see, and they don't let you do the bigger picture. So let's blow this up a little bit. What you're looking at with this, you get a 10-foot pole engineer, a lantern bearer, a female mercenary, male porter, male mercenary, arbalist, hedge mage, mapper, link girl, grenadier, scout, man-at-arms with a lantern, and a female porter with a wheelbarrow. That's what you're getting in this Bones Black package. This is what the miniatures look like unpainted. Reaper's really stepped up their quality as far as their plastic sculpts. You'll see even better quality with some of the other stuff that I'm going to show you here. But this is some of what you're looking at with the Henchmen and Hirelings. And these are NPC characters that you can use as enemies or hirelings for your party, just whatever you're looking to do. And Lou makes a great point in chat here. Dry erase mats and markers are also a good resource for gamers. There's all kinds of nearly infinite use for stuff like that. You can use it to track initiative, HP. You can use it to make maps if it's a big enough dry erase board. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with a dry erase board and markers, or dry erase mat, like a big map-sized mat. That's a good thing to get for someone if you're looking for just like something inexpensive to throw at them. That is a pretty cool option. So some other stuff that we're looking at here, there's some individual miniatures that have come out. Another Bones Black set that we can take a look at here is the Demons boxed set. So again, for anyone whose grandmother is watching this, maybe you might be hesitant to get someone a box set of Demons. But these demons are pretty cool looking. So you get all kinds of great stuff in this box set. You've got 7 Bones Black miniatures here, including Abraxas. But, again, these are great little plastic miniatures of demons. So, good stuff. Good stuff all around. If you really want to show how amazing and awesome you are, this is pre-release. It might not be available by the time of Christmas. It might not be available right now. It might not come on time. But if you really, really, really want to show someone that you love them $300 worth, you can get the introductory package of Reaper Bones USA. Bones USA is the best quality plastic miniature that Reaper has. They are brand new. The Kickstarter just fulfilled not too terribly long ago, and you are looking at just a, to use a technical term, a butt ton of miniatures. And you'll also get, with this package, the Pizza Dungeon dice and the Navathar the Ravenous box set, which is a dragon. Let's see if here's the picture. So, if you drop $300 on this, you'll be getting this entire list of miniatures, plus the dice down here at the bottom, and that dragon. Again, this is a lot of money, and you can get all of this stuff individually on Reaper's site. But if you really want to make someone's holiday season, you really just want to ball out for someone's Christmas, $300 worth of miniatures from Reaper, that's available. That is an option. If you want to see all the other stuff, we can take a look at the Bones USA figures individually. These are some of the figures that are available. This is the most recent one they've released. Arcus Harn, he is a dwarven witch hunter. That's what he looks like painted. And just to let people know who are buying these Reaper miniatures, maybe for the first time, some of them will require some assembly. Krampus, if you want to go Christmas themed, this one is assembled. I have this miniature. I should paint it this holiday season. So, Krampus is an option. And a great thing you can do to, get kind of the most relevant miniature for a loved one, you can use the figure finder. So let's say your loved one, they're playing in a fantasy RPG, and they are playing a female elf. This is all just showing Bones USA stuff right now. So you've got some elven mage options here. But if we go to just like the regular plastic figures, do any material, and this will open things up. Fantasy, female, elf. And this will help you start narrowing things down. Let's say, they say they're playing a fighter, and you can ask them what kind of weapon they have. So just for the sake of argument, we'll say they are carrying a sword. And if you want to get real granular, You can ask them, like, are they wearing a cloak? Are they wearing plate armor? What's kind of the deal there? So let's, again, just for the sake of argument, wearing plate armor. And here is a whole list of options. If you want to get the loved one who's playing a female elf who's holding a sword and wearing plate armor, here are a whole bunch of options for you so that they can have a figure for their specific character. And it's real easy to use. You can specify metal or plastic. A note on that for the inexperienced: the metal miniatures are more detailed. They're a little bit more difficult to paint. So just putting that out there for you. Also, when it comes to these figures, some of them are going to look a little bit better than others, depending on the line. Darkhaven Legends are usually pretty spot on as far as details go. So just to show you this, these pretty decent details. Also, good thing to note, the Reaper blister packs are small, so things may come out of the package bent. That's okay. That's normal. There are ways to straighten everything without breaking them. So just to let you know, if something is bent in the package, that's pretty unavoidable. And it's a pretty easy fix. So keep that in mind. Another miniature company to shout out here is Dark Sword Miniatures. This is another one. These are going to be pricier miniatures because they're a lot fancier. But this is another place where if you have a loved one who is looking for a miniature for their particular D&D character. We'll zoom in here a little bit. Let's say they are playing we'll do a human this time. A human, male, warrior. And let's say his primary weapon this time is a bow. Find your miniature. Here we go. And now you have a whole bunch of options for human males that are holding bows. A personal favorite of mine, based on these miniatures, is this ranger. A lot of these are modular. This is one that's going to have some assembly required. But these miniatures can, be modular. So like this one, you have the option to give him a wineskin, or let's scroll on down so we can see it. He also comes with a sword. Let's see if someone actually put the sword on here for one of these painted miniatures. Yep, here's the sword option. And as you can see, this model is extremely detailed. These are nice miniatures. So they're going to cost a little bit more, but they are very, very nice miniatures. I actually have a painted one of these. He's over behind me. I'd pull him down, but I'd have to go all the way over there, and I don't want to show you guys my butt while I'm on live stream, because it's not that kind of show. And another place to go, let's see, Mantic Games. They've got some great miniatures. So we'll take a look at Mantic Games and see what they have to offer as far as miniatures go. Here's one for anyone who's into Hellboy. Mantic has the Hellboy board game, along with Hellboy miniatures. So there are a couple options if, again, you have a Hellboy fan in your life. You got your core agents here, so you have Hellboy, Liz Sherman, Abe Sapien, and Johann Kraus. Somewhere there's a Lobster Johnson, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. But yeah, there's Hellboy options for people who like Hellboy. Going back to the core here, Terrain Crate is really what I want to talk about. Because one of the best values that you can get from Terrain Crate is this Dungeon Master's starter set. Again, it's $110, but what you get here is of great value. You get a dragon. You get some orcs, adventurer miniatures, some undead, and a whole bunch of terrain to use in your dungeons. This is something that I bought for myself a while back, and you guys have seen me kind of painting stuff from Terrain Crate. I can actually reach over here and pull down some examples of what we've got. This ghost came from Terrain Crate. As did this dead dwarf. As did the skeleton with the scythe. And these are painted examples. This is painted right here. These miniatures do come unpainted. Just to emphasize that. And the terrain comes unpainted. So that'll be an option for you. There are other terrain boxes out there. Not all of them come with miniatures, just as a warning. But you can get Battlefield Ruins, Abandoned Mine. There's some non-fantasy stuff like Military Checkpoint, Forgotten Foundry, Industrial Zone. But you also have Dungeon Depths and Town Center, Abandoned Town, all kinds of great stuff. Torture Chamber. This is a personal favorite of mine. The set of options here, this Torture Chamber. I can't tell you how many times when I've played with my old group, when we ran the Dark Sun game, Josh would use a lot of these particular terrain pieces in like the dungeons that we would explore. And of course, you've got some Dungeon Essentials creatures, which gives you 12 miniatures, including a hag, including some wolves and things like that. Somewhere there's a list of what all you get with them. But yeah, that is Mantic Games. And just to go back over to Reaper for 1 second, I do want to talk about paint. And Reaper is a good place to get paints. Because Reaper paints are pretty good. So, again, for anyone looking to get into painting, you've got your Learn to Paint kits here, your core skills, layer up, and those are the two. And what you get with these are a set of paints and a couple miniatures to practice on. You also get a couple of brushes and an instruction book. So with the core skills set, you'll be able to learn how to basically paint your miniatures, and then with the layer up kit, you'll learn a little bit more about highlighting, low lighting, washes, all that kind of stuff. And you get 2 more brushes and 3 more miniatures. And then as far as like paints, this is a good set here. If you have someone who said, I want, more green, what this gives you is a set of triads, and it's a base coat, a low light, and a highlight, which helps you kind of, bring out your colors a little bit more. I've bought several of these before in the past. They're great. Especially, they're fantastic when it comes to skin tones. Because you've got medium skin tone, fair skin tone, dark skin tone, rosy skin tone. I think you also have like an undead skin tone. and dark elves. Vampires as well. So there's lots of great resources here for different varieties of miniatures, especially when it comes to getting skin tones right for certain characters. If you want your characters to look a specific way, but don't want them to look ridiculous, because it can be easy with miniature painting to make your characters look like they're wearing stage makeup, or they haven't seen the sun in 15 years, or stuff like that. It can be difficult to paint miniature skin tones right, and so these tools are fantastic for, helping you get the right colors. They've also got their washes, your flesh wash, brown wash, black wash. You've got your sepia washes. They've got metallic colors. Really anything you could hope for here. And this is really the best way to buy the Reaper paints, is to pick a color. Pick a color and then get the triad. And there's, all you could ever want here. And anything with NMM, that means non-metallic metal. So that's painting metal without using a metallic paint, for people who don't know that. So this is NMM for gold. I'm sure they've got one for steel as well somewhere. They do have actual metallics as well. You've got your brass, your steel. So yeah, this is a good option as far as paints. And it's relatively inexpensive way to get a lot of paint. So, last thing to mention here, they do have airbrush stuff. I've not used their airbrushes, so I can't tell you how good they are. But if someone's looking to get into airbrushing, you could get them a Vex airbrush. Let's see how much they're going for. So $200, you can get a Vex airbrush, shallow cup or deep cup, depending on what you're airbrushing, and that's always a good option. I love my airbrush, so I definitely recommend getting an airbrush if you're into miniature painting, haven't taken the plunge. It's a good way to go. And for anyone looking to step up their tools as far as painting, Game Envy is a great place to go. One of the main things they have is the Hobby Holder, which is an ingenious little device that holds your miniature for you. And really what it holds is a bottle cap that you can put your miniature on top of. And it's got, guides for how to set up your miniature on the hobby holder. But this is a way to hold your miniature while you paint them so that you're not having to move your fingers around, touch wet paint, mess up what you just did, all that stuff. They rotate, which is great for painting. I've got some of the Citadel ones. They don't rotate. I'll put it that way. These rotate. And Game Envy's a cool company. So that's a good thing. If you want to use the exact brushes that I use when I paint, they are the same ones. Oh, come on. Establish this. Alright, so their servers have crapped the bed. The Artist Arsenal brushes from Game Envy are a good resource as well. So, let's move on. From paints and miniatures, we get into dice. And a company that I'm going to shout out here is Nerdy Chicken. Anyone familiar with Knights and Nerds, you'll know this name. They do lots of giveaways with Knights and Nerds. But they've got some pretty cool dice. So if we go to miniatures, they've got the Fantasy Minis, which are decent miniatures. But they've got, dice bags, dice boxes, chainmail dice bags, different dice sets. You can get Bag Thulu with a dice set with lots of D6s, cool-looking dice boxes, all kinds of great stuff. It's all right here. nerdychicken.ca. They are a Canadian company. So if you've got some hang-ups about dealing with Canadians, perhaps the South Park movie really hit home for you, or you just don't like those filthy Northerners, that might cause a bit of a problem, but, most of the Canadians I know are cool people, so there's that. My favorite band's Canadian. Rush rules. I'll leave it at that. And another company to shout out here is Misty Mountain Gaming. I shout them out, one, because they've got some cool stuff, but two, they are also sponsors of Deadlands and the Hellgate trilogy. But they've got some cool dice bags here that are based on dragon types. That's awesome. You've got Spellcaster dice, which have cool, intricate patterns. One thing I will say about dice like this, I've run into problems like this just from my own issues. Some DMs get really particular about this. These dice are a little bit hard to read, so that might be a problem, but they look super awesome. So there's that. There's all kinds of Legends of Valhalla. These are like metal dice. They're expensive sets, but look at them. They're awesome. And that's the thing about dice. You can spend a crap ton of money on dice if you want to. If you want to get someone a really nice set of dice, like these gemstone dice, you're looking at like $90 for them. These are fancy dice. They've got glass dice, which are also expensive because, again, they're glass. Metal dice. Metal dice are interesting. They're cool looking, but they're heavy. So, use caution. Especially if you're rolling on like a glass table. Maybe be careful with the metal dice. They do have resin and acrylic dice, which are less expensive. Pretty cool looking, so, you've got some options here. They don't, as far as I know, have any DCC dice, unfortunately, but, you can get those from Goodman Games, so there's that. Dice trays are a good thing to have. If you're a player who tends to roll off the table, it's good to get yourself a dice tray. So, that's a cool thing. Dice bags, there's all kinds of options for dice bags here. We've looked at a few of them. And again, you're looking at anywhere between like $15 and $80, depending on what you're looking for. Gaming mats, they've only got one. That's pretty cool looking. They do have jewelry here. I guess there's not any jewelry, though. So, and you've got sporin bags. These are also on the expensive side. And let's see, do they have towers? Epic Dice Design. Trying to see if they've got towers here. Let's see. Dice towers. No. Not that I can see. But this is a great place to get some like crazy, awesome dice. And what adventures do they have on here? Anything? Just one. Crusader's Rest. Which is a one-shot. So yeah. Those are your dice, or dice options. If you really want to get someone a nice set of dice, Misty Mountain Gaming has some cool stuff on it. And the last thing I want to talk about on here tonight is apparel. Some people really love D&D, and I wish I'd actually worn my sweatshirt for this, because I do have a Death Save sweatshirt. Some people really love D&D and really want to show their pride in that they love D&D. And if you or a loved one are in this particular category, Joe Manganiello's Death Saves is where you want to go. They've got the coolest looking D&D shirts. They've got some cool looking Frank Frazetta stuff. So, you know, some of you out there are Frank Frazetta fanatics like me. Death Dealer 5, this is the hoodie that I have. Actually, no, that's the hoodie that I have. Yeah. And that's what they have right now. You've got all kinds of other stuff. Death Saves Originals. They've got t-shirts, they've got hoodies, they've got stickers, jackets. Let's see here. D&D. Vecna shirt. They've got some stuff that's like based on classic adventures. They've got a Raceland phone case. Beholder shirt. Some of this stuff is on the pricey end of things, but, you know, it's cool looking. And it's quality stuff, I will say. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on here, especially, you know, if you know someone who loves D&D and loves like the heavy metal aesthetic, this is good stuff, because a lot of this stuff is kind of an edgy design to it, and that's on purpose. So, and I guess they've got some Game of Thrones stuff too. Yeah. We got art. Let's see. Accessories. They've got some interesting stuff here. You've got your Smoking Skull slip-ons. They've got some cool jewelry. These pendants are very detailed, but they're also very expensive. So if you want to get someone a super detailed $500 silver orc head necklace, that's an option. They have a dice bag that looks like a Crown Royal bag. For anyone who doesn't know this, it was common practice to keep dice in a Crown Royal bag before the dice bag became a major product. So that's a little inside baseball reference there. Mugs, phone cases, all kinds of crazy stuff. They have a dice. They've got sets of dice. They have Archon the Cruel dice, if you really love Joe Manganiello that much. And they do have an under $20 section for some closeout items, sale items, or stuff that's just not all that expensive. And just so you guys know, the Spider-Man t-shirt is not that Spider-Man. It's this image from Frank Frazetta. So keep that in mind. They've got hats. They've got your Black Label stuff, which is all the super, super nice stuff that's super expensive. Your freaking $3,000 gold Death Knight rings, that kind of stuff. So again, some of this stuff is if you're really looking to ball out. Some of it's like within reasonable price range. You can take a look around and see what you see. But as far as like D&D apparel goes, this is some cool stuff. So that's a recommend. And yes, Lou, in my opinion, the ultimate gift, if you're going to give someone a dice bag, you can just give them Crown Royal in the bag. I agree with you there. Here's some Crown Royal, and I guess you can use the bag as a dice bag. But more importantly, here's some Crown Royal. Right there with you. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it for our holiday gift guide this year. That's what we've got. That's what we're looking at here. Obviously, there's more stuff out there. There's all kinds of cool stuff in the world of role-playing. But some major places to find some cool stuff, that's what we've gone over. Some of the highlights. That's what we're looking at here for 2021. That's a lot of the great stuff that's out there. So, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. We're going to play it by ear as far as what's going on next week. We might be reviewing something. There's a chance we might be doing Night Haven. It depends on schedules. We'll see. We'll see how everything shakes out. But until then, guys, whether you rolled a 1 or a 20, I'm so glad you rolled your bones with me, Ryan Howard. Don't forget to tune in to Deadlands, the Hellgate Trilogy, the finale, this Wednesday at 7:30 over at Valor Studios here on twitch.tv. You can catch it on YouTube later, but it is the season finale for Season 1 of Deadlands, the Hellgate Trilogy. Until then, I'll see you all next time.